I call Tracy Martin.
Kia ora, Mr Speaker. Thank you very much. New Zealand First will be supporting the bill. Again, we agree with the Green Party. We believe it's a non-controversial bill. There's only one thing that we would agree with the Labour Party contribution on to date, and that is the fact that this is actually a broken promise. It's a broken promise to the telcos, however, it's not. And that's something that the telcos need to work out with the government and the minister. And with regard to this, where this bill came from, and let's talk about the fact that much has been made of the possibility that there hasn't been any consultation around this. The reality is that this is an amendment to an amendment. So the Telecommunications, TSO, Broadband and Other Matters Amendment Bill 2010, which was brought into this House with the member responsible being the Honourable Stephen Joyce, actually set up this levy to start with. And in this case, New Zealand First would actually believe that it is a levy under the dictionary term of the word levy, as opposed to the term tax. So therefore, we believe this is a levy. However, in 2011, when this bill was finally given royal assent, back in June 2011, the agreement that was reached and the table that was put inside that amendment to the Telecommunications Act 2001 was that in 2016, the $50 million contribution that was spread over 22 telecommunication companies would then be dropped to $10 million only. So, and at that time, way back then in 2011, consultation was done. We understand that there were telcos companies that were not thrilled that they became part of that process. We understand Chorus took a case to the Commerce Commission and argued that they should not have to be part of this levy payment. We understand that other telcos took cases and sought that, say, Sky City, for example, not Sky City, I beg your pardon, I do get a bit, the National Party and Sky City are normally so connected, sometimes I forget, that Sky TV should actually be part of this levy payment because there is now so much content that is actually put out over those networks. And possibly, that is something that a review might pick up, that maybe there's more people, maybe there's more corporations or more companies with the shift since 2011 around what is delivered over this digital environment. Perhaps there's more that should be contributing into this levy pot. But the reality is that the pot this levy needs to be extended for the continuation of the Rural Broadband Initiative. And it needs to be extended, and we're very pleased to see the establishment of a mobile Black Spots Fund. We can only assume that, as Mr Cunliffe said, that once driving through Northland on a bus or in any other sort of mode of transportation, that one realises more often than not that you've just lost signal again. And I do hope, this is the reason why New Zealand First will be supporting the Green Party's SOPs. We want to make sure that that mobile black spot funding is tagged and can only be used for the delivery of that service to our consumers. We can only hope that people like Robin Dixon in the middle of the Dome Valley, sitting in the super city of Auckland, will be able to stop going outside her house, standing on one leg with her arm in the air on a hilltop, trying to get a signal, if this fund is tagged and kept and spent exactly for that. We can only hope that with the extending of this Rural Broadband Initiative, that Omaha, again sitting in the middle of, and I'm just going to quote, Mr Speaker, from an email sent to John Key by, that would be Prime Minister John Key, by his neighbours in Omaha. So, and let's remember, Omaha sits in the super city of Auckland. So when we talk about the Rural Broadband Initiative, this is actually sitting in the super city of Auckland. Omaha is a part of a fast-growing area, taking into account new subdivisions in Matakana, Point Wells, and further intensification of Omaha itself. To that, we are close to Warkworth, a node of significant growth as a future satellite town for the Auckland Council. In simple terms, we have very poor radio reception, poor AM, and virtually no FM capability at all. We cannot access free-to-air HD television signal. Terrestrial TV signals are too weak. We have extremely low internet speed, a maximum of 5 Mbs, which slows by 90% on weekends and busy periods. Omaha and Close are not included in the UFB rollout, but they're in the super city of Auckland. So we can only hope, and we support the fact that with this extension of what is an already consulted on levy with the industry, they may not be happy about the fact that it's going to continue, but it was consulted on. And that with this dedication of another over this, because it's up to 2020, Mr. Speaker, the extension, it's not another $150 million in this coming financial year. It's $50 million in the pot and extending that levy from 2016 all the way through to 2020. We can only hope that by using that money, that places like Omaha and places like Northland will be able to have these issues addressed. However, we think it's also a very fine suggestion by the member from the Green Party that the Commerce Select Committee should pick up this topic around evaluation. I mean, one can't miss the point that the original amendment that this now extends was sponsored by Stephen Joyce. And the fact that Stephen Joyce and other contracts that he has negotiated and other situations like this where there's been levies and so on with telcos have not gone that well. So it would not be untoward, in our view, that the Commerce Select Committee should take this as an inquiry topic or as an evaluation topic and let them do the work. I understand that they're not necessarily doing a lot of legislation work at the moment, so there's some space for them to actually do this, and it might even fit with some cabling inquiry work that they're doing right now. So the only other thing I guess I would address at this first reading speech, Mr. Speaker, is that the comment about New Zealanders wanting to know how many people connected to, and I take on board $60 million divided by 8,000 is 7,500-ish. But actually, Mr. Speaker, most of the New Zealanders I know, they don't care about that. What they want to do is they want to connect. They want I get exactly what I'm talking about, Ms. Curran. They want to connect. They want the Rural Broadband Initiative to actually work. They want to be able to get in there. They want to have their children to be able to do their homework at home. They want their schools connected. They want all that to happen. They want it to happen now because they're being held back. This will not put up the price. In our view, this will not put up the price for the current consumers. This has been in place since 2011. This is not an increase of a levy, this is an extension of a levy. The companies also already knew it was coming. They were consulted in 2011, the Minister indicated and the government indicated before the last election and also indicated again in March of this year. So I can appreciate that those telcos may have projected their budgets out and they're going to have to do budget amendments. I can appreciate that their shareholders may actually have to take a cut. I can appreciate that. But I think it's a little bit of a stretch to suggest that the extension of a levy is going to mean that now this huge amount of increased cost is going to be placed on top of consumers when the levy's already been there, sir. So New Zealand First will support the bill because we want to see this finished, but we will be supporting the Green members' SOPs, and we would certainly support the Commerce Commission working on an evaluation around what is going on now. Perhaps later we'll talk about the dangers of changing course midstream to look at other technology, because technology is always improving, but you don't necessarily change to balloons just because balloons are there.
I call the Honourable Judith